Hi, I'm Lynne with Softsquares. Today I'm going to be working on the Happy Hallows Block 6. This is a block of the month by two designers, Kate Calderon and Chris Poor, and they've created a company called Coffee Clatch, and so it's the Chris and Kate little mugs. Anyway, this is a block of the month that I am working on. If you get the pattern from me, you get it all at once. If you get the pattern and the kit, same thing, you get it all at once. And so I am working on block 6. The other blocks have already been posted. If you're just finding this for the first time, go back and find those, and be sure to get your kit or at least your pattern, and you can get those from softsquares.com. So block 6 is the bat. This is what we are making today, and everything on here you're making 2 of, with the exception of block 5, which is because there's a middle piece and we already did that one, so everything's to 2. So we are making this. This is 6. Let's make it. I have already cut my fabric out into strips, and this was brought over from another piece. Tells you to move things around if you get extras and it's needed in an upcoming block. It will tell you. Fabric F is the orange one. Fabric H is the next one, and these are my stickers that I keep using. The top part, there we go, there's an H. H is the purple one, and the gray is I. What I've done is I've gone through and I pre-cut the strips, and now we're going to cut the pieces down smaller. So with this pattern, it's really simple, and I did a video with Chris Poor of Poor House Designs, and it's been posted on my YouTube channel. It is actually a short, and she's talking about this quilt, and basically there's only 3 techniques to this. It's not paper pieced. It's actually really pretty easy to put together. And look at the cat. The cat's coming up, and so is the bat. Those two to me seem like they'd have a lot of little pieces to them, and they might, but we can work through it. But anyway, she said there's only 3 processes with this, and one is strip piecing, and we have half square triangles and flip and stitch. It's stitch and flip. I always call it the other way around. So really easy, and then they've got really detailed instructions. They even show you how it's supposed to look and which way to press, and helping you with the layout. So I'm going to do this today, and you are welcome to follow along. So I'm starting out with this, and we're going to subcut. The reason I only have this much of this color is because it didn't have me cut a strip for this. It actually told me to bring the leftover from block 2 and bring it over here for this. cut wide enough. So I'm sure it will come in handy. I'm going to put it to the side and just cut a new piece. All right, now this piece that I'm cutting right here, on the instructions, it has little asterisks by it, which tell you, says we will be making half square triangle units. If you prefer to cut oversized and trim your units to size, the pieces marked with the asterisks can be oversized. And that's actually what I'm doing right now, is cutting those pieces. So the other piece was already just too small to start out with, and I want to be a little bit bigger. Definitely had to get a new piece. And this is telling me I need 8 of these, and then I'm going to trim them down. Because this is still a little bit bigger, but at least we're not small. This can go back in the bag. And then it says put the leftover piece in strip 10. Well, I don't know how big this is, but I'll put this in strip 10. But this was my last big piece with this color on it. So I'll put it on something. Okay, now this strip is left over from block 4. And this was just from how I had to subcut the funny cut, and it's the right width. So let's see what this says. Instructions are written, it's telling you to do one bat at a time. I want to do my piecing together. So each bat is going to have 2 sets of half square triangles, which will equal 8 when you're done, and 2 flying geese rectangles, so 1 of each. So I've got my second copy here, and then here's my other 4. And it makes no difference what's up and down. I'm just gonna, this will distinguish 1 bat and 2 bats. Okay, so after we do that and we square it up, cut it down, then we're gonna be adding the solid pieces. 1.5 inch half square triangles, you can do it too. All right, so over to here. First thing we're going to do is we're going to lay some things out. want to show you something. So I don't know how, but somehow the eyeball side is really long. So when I put it on here, I centered it with the point, and I'm going to do the same when I put it on here because I'll square it up later. So the best way to do that is make sure this side is already lined up. So those are all lining up. So just keep it lined up with those. And then I like to sew with all the seams on top so I can make sure I can keep them laying the way I want. Two bats, and this guy, for some reason his eyes are wide. He's how he's supposed to look, and this one, his eyes are just really wide. Oh well, I'm guessing what I wasn't thinking, and this piece is a little wider than it should be. At this point, I'm totally happy with it. It's cute. It's really cute. So there's my bat. That's block 6.